my channel and welcome to today's video. I hope you have been well and the first part of the festive season was good for you. I am finally getting time to sit down and film some palette reviews. Yes, today's video is going to be an eyeshadow palette review or a palette breakdown series, which I'm calling it. So today we are going to review the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction Palette. I got this palette a few weeks, probably a couple of months back when it launched, and I have used it and I think I have my full thoughts on this palette, so I'll share those with you. I also have some other palettes, so I'll just give you a quick preview of what's coming up in the next few videos. So I did get the Natasha Denona Dream palette as well. I have got the ABH new palette. I even don't remember what's it called. It's called Rose Metals palette. The color story of this one was so interesting, I just grabbed it. So this review is also coming soon, and I also have the other one, so we'll do a comparison. I did get the new Hourglass Tiger palette. This is the first Hourglass like a holiday palette I have purchased, so I'm very excited about this. This one I haven't used that much, so I'll use this and I'll let you know my thoughts on this one. And I got one very pretty Woodens Eye Soul Mint 2 palette, so I'll post a review on this one too. I'm not buying too many colorful palettes these days. Most of the palettes I've purchased are very wearable, everyday friendly, cool toned, mid-tone, neutrally pinky berry palettes. Wow, those were a lot of adjectives. But yeah, I'm very excited about all the palettes I have recently purchased, and I'm posting reviews on them. So if you're interested, then please stay tuned. And today we're going to talk about the Pat McGrath palettes. So without much further ado, let's quickly get started with today's video. Okay guys, so let's dive right into this beautiful palette. So I'll do a palette breakdown video for this palette. In this I'm going to share swatches, I'll share my thoughts, I'll review this palette for you. I'll show you the lightest, deepest shades, which are the transition colors, lit colors. I'll show you probably a couple of looks, and then we'll go into the final thoughts on this palette. And as a bonus for this video, towards the end of the video, I'll also share a comparison of this palette with all my other Pat McGrath palettes. I do have quite a lot, and that will give you an idea whether I really needed this palette or not. And the results are a bit surprising. So stay tuned for that. That will be towards the end of the video. Okay, so let's start off with the packaging first. Pat McGrath palettes are just always so beautiful. The packaging of this one is also no less. It's a beautiful, I don't know, goddess woman in front. She just looks gorgeous, and there is this beautiful artwork and graphic on every Pat McGrath palette, which I love. The packaging is very standard Pat McGrath. You have this opening here, which opens like this, and there it lies inside the palette. The palette is also very standard. I'll be very honest, I just wish that something is done to this palette, as in there is some indication on the top of the palette or somewhere, or on the side, to know which palette is which, because right now there is no way to tell which palette is which unless and until you go behind and just check very carefully what is the name of the palette. So all the palettes look the same, basically. That's what I want to say. So it's a standard Pat McGrath palette. It's very heavy. If you own any Pat McGrath palette, it's exactly the same. If you don't own any, just to let you know, this is like a very heavy, very luxurious packaging, which opens like this. Wrong side. It opens like this, and here you have these beautiful shades. This doesn't completely open, it opens just until here. I have made my peace with it. I usually love palettes which just open and lay flat, but none of the Pat McGrath palettes do that, so that's how it is. There's a nice mirror over here. The mirror is also very clear, very nice. I do use this mirror when I'm doing my eye makeup. And the shades in this palette are these ones. It's such a beautiful color story. When the sneak peek preview of this palette was up on Trendmood, I was like, okay, I need to get this palette. It has that berry tone with a cool toned vibe. It's a very Natasha Denona retro palette vibe, I feel like. And honestly, I was like, do I really need that palette? I may have all the colors in the palette, and it's kind of true if you are like you own a lot of Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath palettes, you may have some of these colors already, so it's not actually a must have. But if you don't own any Pat McGrath palettes, you love these kind of shades, this could be a very nice starter palette. That's what I feel. I will give you close-ups of course, but there are 10 shades in this palette. There are 3 mattes, just 3 mattes. The mattes range from a dirty brown to a berry to a deep grayish ashy brown. So I really like the range of the matte shades in the palette, and the rest of the 7 shades are all metallic, and 2 or 3 of the shades I would say are that Pat McGrath glittery duochromatic shade. Out of them, I would say just one is that special shade, which is this one. You can, I think, see in the mirror over there. This one looks like a blue duochromatic when you look from here up top, like a blue-gray duochromatic, but it actually has a bluish purple flip. If you see the mirror, you can see that. So it's a very interesting shade. I love these kind of shades, but I think I may already own a couple of these kind of multichromatic, duochromatic shades already in my collection. I will try to include some at the end of the video if there is time, otherwise I will do a separate video. So out of all the metallic shades, I would say that only these 5 have that special Pat McGrath quality. Out of these 5 also, I feel like one is like a true special shade, that true multichromatic, duochromatic, which is this flippy shade, and the rest have that beautiful sparkly nature, sparkly character to them, and these are like all different colors, so that's also a very nice thing. So before I go into more details, let's quickly see the swatches of all the shades. Here is a close-up of the palette one more time. So we'll go row by row. The first row swatches first. Starting from the left, we have Skin Tense Glow, which is a muted white metallic shade. This one doesn't have too much glitter or anything in it. It's a smooth metallic. Then we have Rosewood Romantic, which is a dusty rosy brown shade. It's a matte. Next we have Platinum Dust, which is a muted silvery grey shade. It is one of my favorite colors in the palette. It's a very nice cool toned silver. Then we have We Are Sextasy, which is that beautiful bluish, greenish, purpley multichrome. Then we have Astral Gold Lust, which is a beautiful muted gold which has a lot of glitter in it. Then let's go to the second row for the swatches. First we have the deep grayish brown matte, which is Extreme Nocturne. Then we have Bronze Devotion. It's a beautiful bronzy shade. It's a very smooth bronze, perfect for everyday use. Then we have Plum Cabaret, which is a beautiful berry plum color. Then we have Blitz Venus, which is a rosy pink with a lot of glitters. And then we have Astral Lilac Aura, which is a bluish purpley glittery shade, which is very sparkly and glittery. Alright guys, so those were the swatches. Let me quickly share my thoughts on the shadows in this palette so far. I think I really like the matte shadows in this palette. There is a little bit of fallout if you pack up your brush a ton, so just be a little bit careful. Try to build up the colors. They are very smooth, very pigmented and very easy to work with, and I love all the matte shades which are here in the palette. It's a nice thing that there is a dark grey brown, which is pretty deep, very intense dark grey brown. And I really like these kind of shades too. I mean, these are the kind of matte shades I usually go for in any palette, so those are excellent. Coming to the metallic shades or the glitter shades in this palette, they are also extremely good quality. I liked most of them. There are 2 simple ones here which are true metallic shades. They are very smooth, and the tone of these 2 are perfect for everyday as well. For simple parties or everyday day out also, you can use these 2. So I would say the top part of this palette is more everyday friendly. This color here, which is a silverish grey shade, it has some sparkle in it, but you can do like a light smoky eye with this one, and this color right here. So this shades here are like nice for everyday use. The fun shades, if you like sparkly shades like I do, then you have these 4 shades right here which are like very sparkly, very glittery. You have a multi-chrome right here, which is one of my favorite kind of multi-chromes ever. And then there are these 3 glittery shades which are also really pretty. Today I am actually using this one, this pink one, which has a lot of shimmer and a lot of glitter. The quality of this one and this one are pretty good. They are pretty standard, smooth, glittery shades. Very smooth and glittery. But the only concern I have is with this one. It's a little bit too flaky for my liking. It's smooth, but it's not as smooth as the other two. There is a little bit of flakiness, so I think we have to do a little bit of more extra effort to blend it out very evenly on the eyelid. And with this one, I feel like I can use this Artistry Wand pencil. So this is the Pat McGrath Artistry Wand. It's like a glitter glue kind of a pencil which intensifies these kind of special shades from her. I don't think any of the other shades in the palette needs this kind of a product, but I think with this one we can use something of a like a light base, a glue sort of a thing, which will help to smoothen and probably get a much more even application of this shade. So I think that's my only concern in this palette, this shade. Otherwise it's a really pretty, very sparkly lavender light blue kind of color, very pretty. This one will go very nicely with this one, and you can just have a light dusting of this on the eyelid as well, which will make the eyelids like glimmer in a very pretty way. So I really like the color and how it looks. Just the application of it, we have to work on it a little bit. Other than that, I think all the shades are really nice, and I'm pretty happy I got this palette. I will show you a comparison and you will see if I really needed this palette or not, but that's towards the end of the video. Okay, now let's break down the tones in this palette so that you get a better idea of how to use this palette, especially if you are a beginner. So let's start off with the lightest shade in the palette first. This is the lightest shade in the palette, which is a metallic muted white kind of a color. It's a really smooth shade. I really like it, and I like the addition of this to this palette. I don't have a lot of these kind of shades, and it's an excellent one for inner corner highlight as well as brow bone highlight. Today actually I have used this as my brow bone highlight, and I think it worked pretty well. So that's the lightest shade in the palette, which works pretty well on my skin tone as well. So that's a thumbs up. Then we go to the deepest shade in the palette, which is that grayish ashy brown shade. It's a beautiful, very richly pigmented brown, and I love these kind of cool tone grayish brown shades, and I like the addition of this one to the palette as well. Very smooth matte shade, and I think it's an essential, and to this color story it was necessary. It's a very nice complementary color. So that's the deepest shade. Next we'll take a look at the crease colors. So in this palette, I think for my skin tone there is just one crease color, which is this one, which is the rosy, muted rosy brown shade. I think other two shades are a little bit too deep for crease color as per my liking. So I can only use this one, and today also I have used just that one crease color. So if you are someone who wants a little bit more variety, then you will have to bring in some other palette. If you're close to my skin tone, if you're lighter than me, then probably this one also will be a little bit too deep for your crease. So you might have to bring in some other palettes. But I also feel like the heroes of these palettes are these sparkly shades. So you don't really need a lot of crease colors for these shades. You can just use any of these sparkly shades, use a little bit of this crease color and just be done with it. So yeah, I'm not totally upset about it, because I think that's the only one crease color I would anyway use. So I think it's okay that there is just one crease color for my liking. Then let's go to the lid shades. Of course, like I always say in all the videos, you can use any of these colors as your lid color. So you have like 10 lid colors, but I usually use the sparkly or the glittery shades as my lid colors. So for this, except this one which is more of a brow bone highlight and an inner corner highlight, rest all the others, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one and this one are all going to be lid colors. This one also can be used as an inner corner highlight. It's a very sparkly light shade, so this one will also work well for that. But all the other shades can be used as lid shades. And there are two shades which can be used for deepening up your eye look, which are these two. I would say this is still like not that deep for my skin tone. For someone lighter it may be deeper, but thank God for this one, which the combination of these two can be used to deepen up my eye look. So if you are someone who just uses one eyeshadow palette, like me, I usually try to use just one palette for one look. For me, this is a pretty all-round wholesome palette which has light shades and deep shades as well. So yeah, I have two shades here which can be used to deepen up my eye look. Now let me think how many looks can be possible with this eyeshadow palette, just to know if it is really worth the price or not. From what I have analyzed, I think you can get a very nice 2 matte looks with this palette and probably 6 or 7 metallic finish looks which are unique, a little bit unique to each other. So I would say probably 8 looks with this palette according to my analysis and my understanding. Probably 8 to 9 looks with this palette because the variety is there. The shade range is quite nice, although some of the shades can look a little bit similar, like this one and this one. They may look similar on the eyes. This one and this one may look similar, so probably not even 9, probably 7 or 8 looks, distinct looks I can foresee. I have myself created about 4. One of the look which I have created is here, which is using this pinky shade and using the matte shades. So I thought this look turned out pretty well. Then I have also done a look with this beautiful one. That was the first look which I created because I was so happy to have this shade in the palette. So I'll insert a picture or like a video here where I'll show you the look which I've created using this beautiful multi-chrome. So those are the 2 looks I have actually filmed. I have also created one look with this one, the grey and the brown, like a smoky eye look. It looks so amazing. Basically use this as like a base and then top it up with this grey. It looks really nice. And then there's another look, this bronzy look with this grey. That also looks really nice, which is pretty wearable too. So those are some of the 4 easy peasy looks which you can do. And if you want sparkly, then there are these shades right here which you can use. So I think it's a very nice, wholesome, all-round palette, and I'm pretty happy to have it. If you are interested to try one Pat McGrath palettes which you will use quite a lot, I think you can go with this one. It's very similar to the Bronze Seduction palette. With that palette also you could get a feel of the Pat McGrath brand, the Pat McGrath quality. With this one also I think you can do the same. If you are looking for a mostly neutral palette, then this is a very good one. I really like the quality, and the fallout with this one is there. Yes, definitely with the matte shades it's there, and with the shimmers as well. But you won't believe it, I have done my face makeup first today and then my eye makeup, and I really didn't see a lot of fallout with the sparkly shades I have used today. So yeah, if you're a little bit careful, I don't think you will face a lot of fallout, but it's there with this palette too. So yeah, that's my review of the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction Palette. It's a very expensive palette. A tip which I would like to give you, if you're in Singapore, you can get it from the Pat McGrath website. I usually get my palettes from the Pat McGrath website because they ship like really quickly. I get my palette in probably 3-4 days max, and the pricing is much lower than what you get from Sephora Singapore here. I mean, it's almost $15-20 difference, so that's quite a lot. and with the new launches there's usually a code, so you can get extra 10% off at the Pat McGrath website. So the price does come down quite a lot compared to the Sephora Singapore. So that's a tip I would give if you are in Singapore. So yeah, I think the video is already quite long, this one. So what I'll do is, this is going to be a part 1 of the video. In the second part, I will show you a comparison of this palette with all the other Pat McGrath palettes I have, and then you will get an idea whether you really need this palette, or if you have a collection similar to mine, is it really worth getting this palette, how many similar shades are there, and yada yada. So I hope you are interested in that video as well. I hope you found this video helpful. If you found it helpful, then please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're watching me for the first time, I really hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. I have a lot more palette reviews to come. So keep watching. Thank you so much for watching today. I'll see you guys really soon in my next video. Bye.